Should sex offenders get married? On today's Modern Day Leper with Ahmad Blakemore. Hello, how are you? And welcome back to another edition of Modern Day Leper with Ahmad Blakemore. Hello, Leper fans. It's good to see you guys. It's good to be back in the captain's seat doing what we do. I just want to say I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of the new subscribers that we've had. And I appreciate everybody who well-wished while I was going through all these oral surgeries that I've been having for the last few weeks. So we're back on the train now. Registered sex offenders and marriage. This is a super duper event. And I mean super in terms of the size and the scope of what this entails. Marriage is a life-changing event for both parties and for their extended families. And usually, in most cases, there's joy and love and happiness, and everybody's optimistic, looking forward to all the great things that are going to happen in the marriage. But that may or may not be so when it comes to registered sex offenders. When it comes to registered sex offenders, now there are other things, such as kids, and how either parent might feel about the daughter marrying a registered sex offender and having children. And in some cases, this can be seen as a shot to the face from the daughter against her parents as they see the grandchildren in perhaps a grave danger in their eyes. So how do we handle this? What do we do? Are sex offenders worthy of marriage? Who should marry them and why? And all of these questions are great questions to be answered. These are the questions that have family members falling out and fighting against one another. So let's look at this. Let's dive into it and let's dissect this. First of all, what is a marriage? We know that a marriage is the joining of two people. But marriage is divided into two halves. One half is companionship and the other half is legal. So let's look at what the actual definition of marriage is. Marriage, the legal or formal recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. Historically, and in some jurisdictions, specifically a union between man and woman, known as spouses. So that's what a marriage is, legally. But when it comes to registered sex offenders, registered people, we tend to forget about the legal parts of marriage because we're more concerned about the companionship of marriage. And because of the companionship part of marriage, we're willing to go to any length to hold on to a woman that loves us, that wants to be in our corner, that will stay beside us. We will go to the ends of the earth for her. And in most cases, argue with the parents. And in these situations where the parents and the children and the grandchildren start to divide, is this good or is this bad? Is it a good idea for parents to not love the daughter? Is it a good idea for the parents to not love the spouse of their daughter? These are the things we've got to think about and talk about. But what is the purpose of marriage from the Bible's perspective? What is the purpose of marriage? So we know the number one purpose of marriage for a man and a woman is companionship. Genesis 2:18 tells us that it is not good for a man to be alone. So for this purpose, man seeks companionship, and it is good that he has companionship, so that the man and the woman can have a closeness, so that the man will love his wife and the wife will love the husband. Companionship is necessary for the well-being of both the man and the woman. Companionship is the first reason for marriage. The second reason for marriage is procreation, so that they can reproduce and build a family, so that the man and the woman have a bond, not just for each other, but for family members, for children, for both the man and the woman to have purpose, and so that the children can be raised in a two-parent household. Procreation is the second reason. And the third reason for marriage is redemption. And when we say redemption, what we mean by that is it keeps the man and the woman sin-free. By having a wife for companionship, a man does not have to run around, so to speak. The woman doesn't have to run around. They have each other, and they have family, and they have purpose. And that purpose gives them respect and honor in the eyes of God. So now, these are the reasons for marriage. If we, as registered sex offenders, are not being married based on these criteria, then we need to check the reasons for which we are being married, why we want to be married. If we're being married because we're insecure, it's a bad idea. If we're getting married because of fear, it's a bad idea. If we're getting married because legally, if we marry her, she can't testify against us, it's a bad idea. Understanding that you and the woman aren't the only two that are involved in the marriage, that there are children and parents on both sides who will be affected. Should a registered sex offender be married? I believe personally the answer is yes, based on Genesis 2:18, that it is not good for a man to be alone. But before he can take a wife, he must take God. He must take himself as a man. Taking on responsibilities as a registered person that you are not qualified to take is going to endanger not just you, but all the people that come in contact with you. If you are immature, if you have not grown to the point that you can take care of yourself, it is better that you not marry. Marriage is one of the biggest responsibilities in the world, especially if there's children involved. And now for the legal side of marriage. As registered people, are we allowed to live where she lives? Are we allowed to be around minor children based on the type of case we have? If we are not supposed to live in a location where she lives, then it's better that we do not do that, because she is going to be in danger because of us. If we are not supposed to be around children, then we should not do that, because the children will then be in danger because of us. Or we will endanger ourselves because the children. If the children that you cohabit with are not your children, you need to know what the legal ramifications of being with children is going to do to you and your marriage. Consider your spouse as a registered person. We cannot selfishly just desire companionship from women without considering them, without considering the children, without considering her parents and ours. It is most selfish for us to want companionship without thinking of the ramifications of all parties involved. We must know whether we can cohabit with these children, or are we just creating more problems for ourselves and other people? It's a real injustice if we marry a woman and tear up the relationship with her parents because of their grandchildren, and our intent is bad. Only with the utmost intent to do good, to do right, to do that which is in the eyes of God, can we marry a woman and be around her children. We need to check ourselves before we get into a relationship with a woman with children. If you are not qualified to take care of yourself, you are not qualified to take a wife. You must be prepared to be the head of household, to be the man of the house. And you must understand that the women that we marry have to be very strong, because they're going to go through hell supporting us. And we better be prepared to be as strong as we possibly can for all parties who back us, who love us, who stand for us, who pray for us, who live for us, and who die for us. Just know, if you plan to be married as a registered sex offender, you better be all in, because coming short of that won't cut it. I'm Ahmad Blakemore. I am the modern day leper, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you guys. Good to see you, and I love you guys. Bye-bye.